Nvidia has been on an incredible run, but is it possible that we see $600 soon for Nvidia? Some on Wall Street are now calling for it, and they are getting more and more bullish on Nvidia. But is it all hype, or is it complete trash, or somewhere in between? So let's look at the case and separate the truth from the hype right after you gently tap that like button and consider subscribing too. It's super easy to do if you like the truth without the hype. And don't forget to sell for my group where you get 5 courses for free, you get all my buy and sell alerts, you get my watch list with price targets, you get access to the stock analyzer tool that's coming soon, completely free for members, and a ton more. Make sure you check out the pinned comment down there before the sale ends. All right, so clearly you guys know Wall Street has, well, basically they missed the boat with Nvidia, beating it down to just stupid levels. And now that it's run up, not only are they getting bullish, they're getting ultra bullish on it. But we need to kind of figure out, hey, is this all hype? I mean, is this just complete garbage and you're setting yourself up for a big fall? Or is there actually some truth to all this? So basically, I found an interview out there on a bull who's basically calling for Nvidia at $600. And so let's kind of watch it and kind of talk about the different points made together so you can kind of get an idea as to kind of how I view it and kind of where I see the stock going.
Let's get back to stocks and let's talk about the latest note out on Nvidia with Alex Comfy, other half of Next Gen with us this morning. Pretty bullish, $600. Did I read that right, Alex?
You did. We'll get into details in just a second. To set the stage, obviously anybody who's been watching financial markets knows Nvidia has been arguably the stock of the year thus far. Oliver, it's been a great year for investors. Hard to believe that in October of last year, this stock was below $110 a share, trading up over $450, leaking a little bit of oil.
Yeah, that is an incredible run, guys. I understand Wall Street got stupid. There was a lot of stocks beaten down. You know, your Metas, Tesla got it a little bit later on. Apple and Amazon, obviously. But Nvidia, in terms of the run it's had versus where it got beat down, just utterly ridiculous. It's one of the biggest runs in a large cap stock that I've seen, I won't say ever, but definitely a massive run. It doesn't happen very often we see something like this
today, Oliver, but again, with a year-to-date performance up over $309 a share, over 200% to the upside, you know, I think investors will take, you know, basically unchanged on the session when that's been the performance. But you mentioned the analyst at Citi. They did raise their price target to $520 from $420, and they keep a buy rating, but they provide a bull case scenario, so they're sort of super optimistic scenario.
And guys, that right there is one of the important points that I would kind of want to make there is, you noticed one, $100 price jump, and you guys know my thoughts on analysts first. I think it's all garbage. They're chasing the trade. They're not necessary. There's a lot of different reasons behind that. I've made some videos about it for my group before, you know, but kind of to give you guys the bottom line here, they do these sort of things. They're chasing the stock. They're chasing the momentum. They're chasing a lot of other things. They're talking about trading. They're not talking about long-term buy and hold investing. So, and I'm sure you guys have already realized this, they're always behind the curve. But $100 jump is a pretty good jump in the stock. But you notice, and this is really what I wanted to key in on here, is they said, you know, the price target's 520, but the bull case is 600. However, a lot of the headlines that you'll see will basically say, oh man, Citi calls Nvidia to 600. And that's kind of where you can get kind of caught, because kind of looking at the price at 450 something. And, you know, there's a big difference to me between thinking there's a lot more upside left at 520 versus it going all the way to 600 there. That's where a lot of times, you know, obviously I don't use analyst estimates or anything else like that. But a lot of times making sure you don't just read headlines and move on, but actually kind of get into the weeds a little bit, look into it a little further, actually go to Citi's page and actually see what the case is, and the details behind it there can keep you from a lot of trouble, because I know a lot of folks, especially with Tesla, got caught up in a lot of just people speculating about this price and that price. And it seems to happen a lot with Tesla, period, across the board, in the media, on YouTube, everywhere. And you get to where people are speculating, and they make good points as to how that's possible, or maybe they give a time frame out to 2030, which you guys know, I don't, you know, 2030 is strictly a guess at this stage. It's really, really tough to see beyond a couple years with any sort of accuracy where a stock's going. But nonetheless, if you get caught up in the headlines, it starts to kind of get ingrained in your mind that, hey, yeah, Tesla should be at, you know, $400, $500, $600, you know, without actually seeing the reason why they're saying that and the time frame that they're saying that. And you want to make sure you're real careful with that as an investor, because sometimes it can lead you, you know, when you get that FOMO feeling, right? You already got the feeling, you already feel like you got to buy it. And then a quick headline like that can make you go, oh yeah, I definitely should buy it. And then before you know it, your emotions have taken over, you bought something, but you didn't actually look at the information and see, oh, okay, that was kind of a best case, bull case, everything goes perfect type scenario, not necessarily where they see the stock actually going. So just wanted to kind of put that out there to you guys to make sure that you have the right mindset whenever you're seeing stuff like this.
That can include a $600 per share price target. They lift their estimates. They continue to see favorable risk reward for the shares on accelerating year-over-year data. I think that's fascinating, given some of the price performance that we've discussed. To still see favorable risk reward just shows how optimistic the street is on this company. They do, however, provide a caveat where they say the China ban, slower macro environment impact on gaming demand and competition are key near to long-term downside risks. So a little bit of hedging language at the end, but obviously a very optimistic take from Citi. For context, where this sits versus the rest of that analyst's peers, you're looking at 87 or so percent of analysts with a buy rating, 10% at a hold equivalent, and only one analyst or under 2% with a sell.
Remember, they won't actually stop telling you to buy until after all the funds and everybody else have stopped buying. Then at that stage, after it's already, basically the run is over and it's kind of, and I'm not saying correct all the way back down to 100 or anything like that, but once it kind of has its pullback from being overbought, magically after all that's happened and a whole bunch of money has already come off the stock, wherever it ends up going, let's just say it goes to 400, 500, and then all of a sudden it dips back down to 425 or 400, whatever the case is, maybe 375. Then they'll magically say, oh, okay, now we need to hold, guys. We need to hold, So you just ignore that sort of stuff. It's kind of silly.
Consensus price target of about $474 a share, so a little bit of upside, even still being priced in for Nvidia here, Oliver. Really, really fascinating stuff. On a valuation standpoint, we had talked about how the PE actually came down after the last earnings announcement.
Yep, we talked about that too. The PE actually came down, which can happen when you have great, incredible growth in revenue and EPS numbers. You can actually see your PE ratio come down, which is an awesome thing to see. So it doesn't happen a lot, but when it does happen, it's awesome to see.
Started to creep back up a little bit here. For context, a 5-year historical blended forward PE would be about 40 for Nvidia. It's sitting at about 50 right now, which would be about the 1 standard deviation range to the upside on that, but nowhere near where it peaked out prior to that earnings, about 63, 64.
All right.
Yeah, so you kind of see right there, it's a little bit overvalued based upon the 5-year average. I don't have any issues with taking a 5-year average, although I will say with a lot of stocks, I've just kind of ignored the, the whole illness shutdown thing and all that sort of stuff. I just kind of ignored that time frame because we saw a huge boom, then a huge downturn there. So I've kind of taken that out of a lot of stocks and just kind of, made an average, out of the rest of it there. But there's no right or wrong way to do that, whether you choose to take 10 years. I know some guys that take the life of the entire, stock, and they create their average out of that. However you choose to do that is up to you. Doesn't matter how you choose to do it. But the point being, looking at an average of some sort is a fairly accurate way to do that. And as you see right here, it is a little bit overvalued based upon where valuation should be right now. Not terribly overvalued, but definitely overvalued. And we'll see, maybe that next quarter makes it undervalued again. Who knows? That's the great part about a performing stock that has been performing like Nvidia. Now, it's been some incredible performance, so I don't know if they can keep it up. But that right there is where that valuation kind of keeps you, in check in regards to not FOMOing in and really understanding, is there really a lot of upside to that price target without a corresponding earnings? In this case, the $600 price target to the corresponding earnings that's coming up, there isn't right now. That would clearly be way overvalued if it got there. However, and remember, I'm not trading it, so I don't care. I'm not looking to trade and try to get in and out of the position or anything like that. I don't own Nvidia at all, actually. But if I was looking to buy it right there, that's definitely something that I would take into consideration to be, hey, what's that next earnings really going to look like? Are they going to generate the kind of numbers they need to generate to keep that or to push that, valuation back down? Because if they don't at that stage, and if it is at $600 or $550 or whatever the number ends up being, it will be set up to be significantly overvalued at that stage. So right now you're looking a little bit overvalued in regards to how I would look at valuation for this stock. However, that does not mean it cannot run further. As you guys know, there are plenty of times, I thought Tesla was overvalued at $300 whenever it hit $300, a year plus ago or so. And it just continued to run right up all the way to 400 before finally coming all the way back down well below fair value at $100 per share or so. So, again, I'm not trading, so it doesn't matter to me. That's just for me. Whenever I hit a level, I stop my DCA until it comes back down to undervalued again, in my opinion, of course.
Love the analyst vibes right now when there's a buy rating.
Sorry, I don't know. He just, the way he said it and the way he kind of turned his face, it just kind of, I don't know. Just remind me of the guy, back in school or whatever the case was. They'd be like, yeah, man, that vibe was awesome. I don't know. That's just kind of what I thought looking at his face when he said, yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize. I didn't mean anything by it. Just kind of what I thought whenever I saw him.
Then a separate bull case on top of it. They can't put enough bull case. We're doing 2 bull cases per bull note now. That's how bullish we are. It's like, okay, $600 though. Anything seems possible the way this is broken out. One of those few companies that meaningfully just tore through a new high alongside Apple this earnings season. Microsoft right there, but not quite as powerful. So Nvidia is certainly the leader. To hear that type of commentary, certainly encouraging to kind of justify the price move at this point. So it should be fun next couple weeks going into the report, see what kind of bullish price targets we get. Thanks, Alex, for the update.
All right, guys. So as you can see right there, obviously those analysts are super bullish on Nvidia. And there's really nothing wrong with that, again, but just you got to kind of understand the game that those guys are playing, those analysts are playing. They are chasing the stock. They're chasing momentum. They're also trying to, quote unquote, be with the momentum so that way they can say, hey, look, we were right. Look, our analysts know a lot. Please invest your money with us, blah, 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 blah. There's a lot more to it than just these guys actually giving real targets based upon valuation and everything else like that. Obviously, the interviewer or the interviewee that was being interviewed there actually did give you the valuation case. Obviously, it was a very, very small portion of his entire, 4-minute video. So, it was maybe a 30-second discussion, 45-second discussion there. But for me, that right there was the most important piece. And that's why I preach valuation so much, because it keeps me from getting caught up in these FOMO type runs. And because I'm not trading it, I still get to take advantage of these runs, right? So if I started buying Nvidia, let's just say in the $200 range, and then all of a sudden now it's up over 450 and getting a little bit overvalued, and I'm looking at it, I just stopped my DCA. I'm not selling my shares thinking it's going to go down. I just stopped my DCA because I'm like, hey, it's getting a little bit overvalued. And if it continues to run, I just get to enjoy the run with the shares that I have. And if they continue to perform like Nvidia has performed, at that stage, it will push that valuation up to where whenever the next dip eventually happens in that stock, the valuation will be higher. So that way, the price will be higher based upon valuation. So I'll be able to add shares again, but at an undervalued price. And you can kind of rinse and repeat this for decades. I've done it with Apple for decades. I've done it with Google for over a decade. You can do it with a lot of different stocks, especially great companies that are going to continue to grow into the future. You can continue to do this. So that way I'm not caught trying to play games like people were with Palantir and a lot of other stocks like that, where it was just, hey, the right trade was to get rid of Palantir at $10 or so. It just was. But if you did that, man, we're we're approaching $20 now, That's why trading's so hard, and that's why I don't do it. I just stopped my DCA whenever I got up over that point. And honestly, I actually had a full position there, so I really didn't need any more shares. I was more than willing to keep buying it if Wall Street wanted to continue to beat it down. But the point being, I just get to kick back and enjoy the ride, and I don't have any pressure to buy. I don't have any pressure going, man, I wish I would have owned it. I wish I wouldn't have sold it. I don't have any of those sort of feelings going on my investing. I'm just getting to enjoy my shares of Palantir. So that's kind of my take on this. Hopefully it was helpful. And remember, make sure you check out the pinned comment down there and get your membership now. It's on sale, where you get basically 5 courses for free. You get direct access to me anytime you want. You get all my buy and sell alerts in real time. You get my watch list with price targets. We have the best 6 and 7 figure Discord out there. I do have a stock analyzer tool that is coming, and it's going to be completely free for members, and a ton more stuff, guys. So make sure you check out the pinned comment down there and at least give it a shot and see if it's right for you. And click this video here if you want to see exactly what I'm buying in this market, and click here to see my exact plan for this market. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.